Welcome back to the Gobby Gaffer, and in today's episode, a round of applause for Sports Interactive because they fixed the goalkeepers. Also, our European adventure continues, and to be quite honest, I'm a little bit surprised. League form, however, not that great. We have dropped into third position, and if I'm really honest, form is not that great at the moment, or at least what I'm watching in the match engine is not that great. But then again, the results reflect that. So let's have a quick look at what's been happening anyway. So after the win against Bordeaux that we watched on camera last time, because of the league position in the Europa League, position we dropped to, we had to play an extra playoff game, which would then get us into the last 16. And that game was against the Shakhtar, or that pair of games, I should say. It's two-legged. And I was a little bit fearful on this one, but let's just watch the first leg. We were away and we won 2-1. So some nice build-up play here. Arbeloa feeds the ball through to Catalan, and Catalan sticks the ball away. We're 1-0 up, away from home, and I thought, this is going better than expected. But then, fiddling about with the ball at the back, and then we kind of just give the ball away. It's 1-1, and I thought, no, here we go again. But then, in the 84th minute, we play the ball around nicely again, and this ball is given to Arbeloa, who fouls a missile. But the European hangover is real, let me tell you. So we then went away to Lyon, and we kind of got battered 4-1, which was not great. And like I say, our league form is starting to suffer a little bit. We have dropped into third place, which is still a Champions League qualifying place, but I would rather have kept that second spot just to be nice and safe. But then we played Shakhtar at home in the second leg. Remember, we're winning 2-1 from the first leg. So Vincent with an absolutely thunderous free kick in off the underside of the crossbar, and then in quick succession, Catalan bursts forward in the back of the net, 2-0, and the tie's done then. Now, I'm not sure whether you can call this a European hangover. I mean, whenever you play PSG, it's always going to be a difficult game. We actually got beat 3-2 in this one. The result is a lot closer than the actual game. We were losing 3-0 at one point, and we did actually come back to win 3-2. So your defending against PSG has to be of the highest order. I mean, if you look at this ball here, they just zip it round our right-hand side. The ball's in the back of the net before we know it. But then we did seem to wake up a little bit. We've got plenty of men there on the left-hand side to get a foot in, but no, an incisive ball through, and they're 2-0 up. And then the same thing on the right-hand side here. We do seem to have woken up. We've got plenty of men there. But again, all of those men are taken out. Now, we do need to watch that again. So if we just disregard the bad defending just for a second. I mean, this ball is floated over the top there. What is that goalkeeper doing? Seriously. What is that goalkeeper doing? I mean, it's kind of laughable. It's I don't know. It's very jokey, and I'm not laughing. However, I made a few tactical tweaks, and we did get back in the game. Diogo with a nice near post header there for 3-1. And then a nice little play here. Nice ball over the top. Catalan, nice finish. We just couldn't do the extra, and it ended 3-2. And then the last game against Marseille, away from home, and a nice 2-0 win there. So we did seem to pick it up a little bit. Hopefully, as you can see there, we're now through to the last 16 in the Europa League. And who are favourites for that? Newcastle. Who've we got in the playoffs? Newcastle. It's going to be a very tough game, this one. So have a quick look at the league. Like I say, our league form has not been great. So we're in the third place now. We played 23 games, got 52 points. Exactly the same as Rennes, though their goal difference is quite superior to us. I suppose the position we do need to be looking at is Nice in fourth position now. And they are 8 points behind us at this stage. So it's nip and tuck with us and Rennes. I think third place does get us Champions League, if I remember rightly. I think last season we finished in fourth, and that got us through to the playoffs, which eventually we only played one game against Sevilla and got beat. So, of course, ended up in the Europa League. But if we're going to get the money in, and that's the main thing for us, and while we're talking about the money, now, I'm not a financial person at all. My brain works in a footballing way, doesn't work in a financial way. But I've had a dig around in the finances, and it's not pretty. And I think this answers quite a lot of the reasons why we are so much in debt and accumulating more debt. So if we just have a quick look in here, the overall debt is, original debt, I should say, before I took over was 53 million. There's been a little bank loan added to that, so the overall debt is 55 million. These debts are not paid off until 2041. It's a long time in the future, and we're paying nearly £250,000 every month to service these debts. So it's not surprising really that we are losing money, and not quite sure what I can do for that. I have tried to trim the wage bill, but obviously that kind of thing is only, you know, unless you're paying players like £300,000 a week, which we're not, it's not making a huge difference, if I'm honest. Anyway, hopefully somebody else will be looking after all the financial side. I mean, if I'm honest, they're not doing a great job at the moment, but somebody else looks after it, because I am looking after the footballing side. And we go into 2 games now. We have a league game wedged in the middle. I'm probably going to play that off camera. But we have 2 games now against Newcastle, and in the Europa League, if we can win those 2, we get through to the quarterfinals. And I mean, the money's not great, but I suppose it's prestige. And I think a Europa League win, winning the trophy, actually is automatic into the Champions League anyway. So there are things to play for, with the league position now looking a little bit dodgy, because there was a stage this season, I think, where we're about 6 to 8 points ahead of Rennes. But because of recent results, Rennes are on a real roll at the moment. They're just beating everybody out of sight, and well, quite frankly, we're not. Anyway, let's get stuck into the Newcastle game, and we'll see you in the dugout for that one. Well, welcome to the dugout for this Europa League game against Newcastle. And the team for today is Roriel in goal, back 4 of Heskey, Argiolas, Diogo and Metler. Perone sat at the base of the midfield. 3 across the middle of Armand, Scarlata and Arbeloa. Vincent is the attacking midfielder today, just behind Cavalan, the striker. So I've just been having a look at Newcastle's stats. Their recent form has not been great, if I'm honest. They're 10th in the Premier League at the moment, so they're not having the greatest of seasons. It's a really good chance for us to pit ourselves against a mid-table Premier League team, although their main striker is worth 233 million. 25-year-old, I think he's called Shy. He was offered to me actually, but obviously we can't pay 233 million for a player. But that's their centre forward, and that's where the money is these days. But a first highlight of the game just before half time, and a corner straight into Roriel's arms. Roriel is now going to distribute this to the centre back, and we're going to try and build an attack. No, we're not. We're going to give the ball straight away to a black and white striped shirt, and that was not in the training. Ball through to Shy, puts the ball in the back of the net, and again, that is not the first time we've been punished in the last 7-8 games for just giving the ball away, and it just comes straight back as in the back of the net. So we're 1-0 down to Newcastle. Not amazing. It was a very difficult decision today to know whether to play a more defensive game, but we are at home, and again we've just given the ball away. Yeah, so like I say, a very difficult decision whether to try and play a more cautious defensive game, but we do need to win this one. And Cavalan puts the ball in the back of the net. That was a lovely little move to get Cavalan forward, and we're back to 1-1, which, to be honest, didn't look on the cards. That giving the ball away all of the time. Cavalan, did he just... Yeah, he was onside, wasn't he? So we're back to 1-1 just before. So all of the action in the first half has been reserved for the last 2 minutes of the first half. But anyway, we have a highlight. Heskey with the ball. Vincent back to Heskey. Can we get into the lead? Heskey with a wild shot right over the bar. Terrible, terrible shot that. Mettler is starting to look very, very tired. It's a very, very well. Actually, it's not a balanced game now. Newcastle are starting to put the foot on the ball. 4 changes. Changed both my wing backs. And Bailly's come on in midfield, and Cavallo has gone up front, taken Vincent off. A lot of tired legs in this team at the moment. I don't know whether that is contributing to our lack of form in recent games, and even this game we're not doing that well, are we? So Newcastle do have a highlight. We're just going to give them a little bit of encouragement. For the last few minutes here, I've gone a little bit more attacking, and the ball is tipped over by Roriel. Terrific save there to keep us in the game. But it looks like we are going to go to a full-time whistle, and it's 1-1. Not the most ideal result, if I'm honest. So that could have gone a lot better, actually. I would have liked to have got 2 or 3 goals ahead of them. But maybe this is showing me where our team is in comparison to a mid-table Premier League team. 1-1 at home against Newcastle. Maybe in the grand scheme of things, because let's face it, Newcastle are favourites to win this. So maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's a fair assessment of where we are. But we still have the away leg. You never know. Stranger things have happened. Anyway, I'm going to go off camera now. I'm going to go and play Brest, I think it is, in the league. Again, we really do need some decent results and some momentum now in the league, because we're falling off a little bit. So I'm going to go and play that offline, and then we'll be back very shortly for the away tie at Newcastle in the Europa League. We'll see you shortly. Okay, nice, comfortable 2-0 win against Brest. Unfortunately, Rennes won their game as well, so it's still very nip and tuck up there in at the top end of that league. But anyway, today we focus back onto the Europa League. We've got the return leg against Newcastle, and I'm playing a very conservative team today. Hope we can hit them on the break, keep it tight at the back. So the team is Roriel in goal. We've got a back four of Heskey, Gattini, Magabane and Mettler. Diogo, I'm not sure about at the moment. He seems to be playing okay, but he's still very, very grumpy about this no-nonsense centre-back ridiculous stuff. So I've left him out today, and I've got Argiolus playing as an anchor, which he can play really well. Perone is by the side of him as a defensive midfielder. The 2 in midfield, I've got Armand and Arbeloa. Like I say, he's playing a deep line playmaker today. He has provided some really good assists for us. He's got 10 assists this season from that position. So hopefully, with Vincent in front and Cavalan up top, we can keep it nice and tight. We're on a cautious mentality. Let's keep it nice and tight. Let's try and keep Newcastle at bay and maybe try and spring the odd counter-attack. We've got their 233 million is worth their striker. I've had a quick look. 233 million for a 25-year-old Shy. He's their striker. We've got all kinds of instructions to close him down, mark him, just try and take him out of the game completely. Can we do it? Can we nick a winner in this game and get through to the quarterfinals? Let's have a look and see what we can do. So we're in front of a packed St James Park here. Can we actually do something in this game and nick? We only need 1 goal to nick the tie. We're about 15 minutes into the game. Not an awful lot happening, but Newcastle do get the first highlight. Ball into the penalty area, and that is going straight in the back of the net. And all of my instructions and all of my tactical instructions have all gone straight out of the window. We're now 1-0 down, and it's a nightmare for any manager this, when you send your team out with an instruction to play in a certain way, and then within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you go 1-0 down. So we did have a little chance of an attack there, but the ball is coming away again. Shies through the middle, £233 million, and he does pull it wide. I've no idea how much this Newcastle team is worth. If the striker's worth 233 million. I mean, I think, to be honest, I don't think our squad is worth 233 million. Anyway, nice little win there by Arbeloa. Wins that ball really nicely. Slings the ball into the middle. But our man gives the ball away. Unfortunately, not on the same wavelength. Shah is through again. And this time, he makes no mistake. The ball's in the back of the net. We're going out of the Europa League, unfortunately. It's now 2-0. And, well, we gave it our best shot. But Newcastle are favourites to win this competition. Even though they are not having the greatest of seasons in the Premier League, I think it kind of puts us in our place a little bit, this. But Jeremy there showing a real turn of pace. He just left our defender for dead. And if we can get to half-time, 2-0, make a few changes, see if we can get ourselves back into this game. But we do need 3 goals now at St James Park to win this tie. I really can't see it happening. If we think we're going to draw Newcastle out with a passing game at the back, think again. They're too good for that. We're not playing a half-baked team in League One in France now, are we? Cavalan, though, is through, and he really does. That's a lovely little chip from Cavalan, and we are back into the game. It's 2-1 now. A lovely little chip there into the back of the net from Cavalan. He's kind of saying, whatever you can do, Shy, at one end, I can do at the other end. Lovely little dink over the keeper. So we're 2-1 now. 33 minutes on the clock. I am going to step it up a little bit. We're going to go to balance, and I'm going to give him a shout of encouragement. Not going to change the tactic or the formation at the moment. Well, that's very well won by Cavalan. A nice endeavour there. Argiolus there. Pesky. He's going to give that ball away. No, he's not. And our man, Cavalan, is offside, I think, there. Cavalan is definitely offside. Yeah, that's pulled back. You could see that one was offside. I mean, just stood daydreaming, to be honest. I think he was still pondering on the goal he just scored, how marvellous he was, and then it was just given as offside. Anyway, Newcastle with the ball now. We're just before half-time. We need to try and keep it tight, which we should be able to do with this formation. We should be able to keep it nice and tight. And the ball is in the back of the net again. And Shy with his second goal of the game, and it's now 3-1. Not quite sure what I can do about this, really. I'm playing as cautiously and as defensive as I can, without giving away too much of our attacking thrust. But our man picks the ball up. Heskey. I think we had a little glimmer of hope there, didn't we? And unfortunately, this time, Cavalan keeps himself well onside. And that ball forward is it's too far forward for him. Another ball forward for Shy. He really looks the business, this Shy, doesn't it? I was offered him a few times, obviously for a lot less than 233 million, but even at the price I was offered him, I couldn't afford it. You've been terrible so far. Can you please sort it out? Not entirely sure what we can do in this game now. Going to push Argiolus a little bit further forward, and we're going to make him a Mazzala, so push him forward a little bit. Attacking Mazzala. Arbeloa is still going to be the, well, it's actually changed it there. He's still going to be the deep line playmaker. And we're going to push it up to positive, I think. Let's try and go for this a little bit. Armand is having a poor game. Not entirely sure what I can do about that. We could bring Mbaye on. See if he can... some young legs in there. See if we can actually... I think this game is gone now. But if we get another one, you never know. And we're not going to do it like that, are we? Giving the ball away. Absolutely shocking. We did that a few times against PSG and they just come straight back down the other end. Ball's in the back of there. And Shai's got his hat-trick. We're now losing 4-1. So we need to concentrate on the league now. This would have been possibly a route into the Champions League. We do need to concentrate on the league now. This game is well gone. and we just I think maybe I'll just make the rest of my substitutions now. We may as well just save players for the league. So we'll bring Carvalho on up front, I think. Yeah, Saulo can come on in midfield. We'll give Cisse a run out in midfield as well. And for my final trick, Menino can come on for Perone. So this game's gone now. It's dead and buried. When we got that goal back, nice little goal. I thought that might have put some confidence in it, the lads, but obviously not. So we're getting absolutely battered at Newcastle, which, to be fair, I kind of expected. But football is a funny game sometimes. You never know, do you? But it kind of puts us in our place a little bit. Like I say, I think Shai is probably worth more than our whole squad. When you can have a striker up front who's worth 233 million, then you'd expect to win trophies. Like I say, they are favourites for this competition. Although there are still some tough teams left in it. You know, Tottenham are in it. Atletico Madrid, last time I looked. There are some big teams left in it. But unfortunately, this season, not for us. Our Europa or European campaign finishes in pretty horrible style. Not going to lie. 4-1, St James's Park. And they're still attacking. They've still got the ball. While I'm waffling away here, we've not even got 80 minutes on the clock, and Newcastle are looking for their 5th goal. It's a good take by Roriel. About time, if I may say so. You know, he's let 4 goals past him today, and he's had a reasonable protection in front of him. I mean, maybe we are just we're outclassed and outfunded. Can we put it that way? Outclassed and outfunded. So we're in the 79th minute now, and we now have to endure this constant onslaught from Newcastle now. The stuffing has completely been knocked out of us. There we go again. 5-1. It's now getting embarrassing. The left-hand side of our defence there went to sleep completely, and they just left their striker. We don't need to watch that again. In fact, we don't need to watch any highlights now. Referee, now is the time to have a rummage for your whistle and just blow the final whistle, put us out of our misery, and we can get back to France. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just going to say I'm far from pleased with what I saw over the 2 legs. Absolutely awful. None of them seem particularly, put out by that. So they're all quite happy. They seem to know the place. And with that, that's the end of our European dream this season. So we now need to focus completely on the league. That's all we've got left now. We're out of the cup. So we're just focusing on the league. Can we get that 2nd place and a guaranteed entry into the Champions League stage for next season? Let's just have a quick look at the table before we go. So the league table's looking like this then. We've all played 24 games now. Monaco had just lost their last league game against Reims 1-0. So that puts us 9 points, I think. Yeah, 9 points ahead of them. So they're not having the greatest of seasons for Monaco, which is a little bit surprising. PSG obviously are running away with it. Rennes in 2nd place with 55 points. We've also got 55 points. But as you can see there, the form, Rennes' last 5 games, won them all. We, on the other hand, have won 3 but lost 2. So not great. Monaco have won 3, lost 2. But I'm not quite sure. Let's just have a quick look at the rules. Rules. Right, okay then. So 1st place, Champions League. 2nd place, Champions League group stage. 3rd place, Champions League group stage. Yeah, so last season we got that 4th place, and that took us into that qualifying round that we lost against Sevilla. So 3rd place would actually give us 14 million in prize money and a route into the Champions League league stage, where obviously that's where the money is and that's where we want to be. Okay, well that's the end of this episode. We're out of the Europa League, unfortunately, and not really a great watch for anybody who came along to watch it. We drew against Newcastle and then got absolutely battered at St James Park. We did have a league game in between that we had a nice comfortable 2-0 win in, which obviously was off camera. But I think it just goes to show that the gulf in the leagues around the world, the Premier League, even the 10th position in the Premier League, is so much more ahead of what we are, and we're third in the French Premier League, if you will. So it just goes to show that the gulf in in quality, in funding, and all of that kind of thing. Although PSG are funded very, very well in this league, aren't they? Okay, well, if you've enjoyed this episode, please give me a like. If you're new around here, then if you could spread the word, that would be great. Helps the channel grow. And as usual, if you like your football played the Gobby Gaffer way, then please come along for the next episode, which is just around the corner. And we just have the league campaign now. We need to keep that third spot, ideally the second spot. Would like to be just behind PSG if possible. So come back, watch the next episode. We'll be back very, very shortly, and let's see if we can get into the Champions League for next season. We'll see you very shortly.